Good evening, everyone, and welcome to your favorite Monday evening show. It is Family Time, and I'm your host, Sir Twain. As you know, Family Time is about your issues, your relationships. It's about your at home family, your community family, and your global family. So, we are going to be talking about many things that affect the family today and we want for you to join in as well. You normally participate, so we're definitely looking forward to your participation another time. So, as you know, Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families that will definitely lead to healthy nations. All right. For those who are joining us by Facebook and YouTube Live, a special shout out to you. All those joining us by Instagram, big up yourself as well. As you heard in the promo, every child needs a nurturing environment for his or her physical, spiritual, and emotional growth and development. Unfortunately, too many don't have that or they just don't have enough of it. Being a foster parent gives them that opportunity. The question is, have you considered fostering? If you have, what's stopping you? Let's discover how one foster couple did it and is still doing it on this episode of Family Time entitled Bring Up a Child, Foster. Now, as usual, I want to hear from you, and I'm sure you have some comments that you want to drop as well. So here's how we're going to do it today. You're going to share your experiences as a foster parent, or if you have been a foster child, that's what we want to know about today. So share your experiences. What has it been like? And I guess how can you encourage someone to join the effort? Today, we will not be having our studio lines available, so please send all your comments via WhatsApp. You may use text or voice notes. If you're voice noting, keep it to 30 seconds or less. And of course, for those who are watching us live via YouTube and Facebook, you can post and comment there as well. If I didn't say it, big up to all those listening on Love 101 FM, the family station. Definitely happy to have you. When we come back from this break, we're going to be joined by our special guests and foster parents, Renee and Jermaine McDonald. So don't go anywhere.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5 December 12, packed with inspirational stories and Allen-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain testing Menticize Listener's Pick Edition. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence. We hear the story of Eunice Beckford, who was one of the 24 persons stranded in the recent flood, but later was rescued by members of the Jamaica Defense Force. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with the anointed pastor of the Jamaica Evangelistic Center in Mandeville, Pastor Gregory Mitchell, for part 2. All this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. December 12 with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101. Love 101. Celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Welcome back, everyone. I thank those who would have taken their friends as well. I'm looking out to see and hear from you all, seeing your comments and hearing from you all. So, just a reminder, we're looking forward to hearing about your experience as a foster child or as a foster parent. You'll be sharing as we join with Renee and Jermaine McDonald. You may send your comments via WhatsApp. You may use text or voice note. Send that to 876-997-3125. Keep all voice notes to 30 seconds or less, and you can go ahead and post and comment on YouTube and Facebook as you watch. Don't call the studio lines, they're not available today. All right, time's gonna fly, so let's get into this right away. Renee and Jermaine, how are you doing?
We are
Very
well. Thank
well,
you so
thank you.
much for having us.
Lovely. Happy to hear that you're both doing well. Um, that's a really nice background. What I'm getting out of
Don't
Where
get
should we be
distracted.
going?
Don't get distracted. Don't get
Stay
So
distracted.
here we
focused.
are. So let's start right off the bat. What is fostering? Um, who is a foster parent?
Right. So fostering is a temporary care arrangement where you're caring for someone who is not your biological child. Typically, um, well, culturally, I should say, it happens a lot in Jamaica where an aunt is caring for a child or a grandma is caring for a child. Those situations are considered fostering as well. But in the formal sense of the word, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, facilitates the matching of children in need of care with non-biological families or family members sometimes to provide the care that they need. So a foster parent then is the person in that situation who is providing the home and the care, emotional, spiritual, financial, all of the alls for the child, is providing a loving home for them.
Okay. So some of the keywords I picked up there would have been, or at least one keyword would have been temporary.
Yes.
Um, that's something that we have to note all the time. Fostering is always temporary.
It is the intention of foster care to reunite the child with their biological family. It
Mhm.
does not always happen, but that is the intention, as our country or state intends or prefers for children to be with their biological families. However, in cases where the biological family is not able to or not willing to care for the child, then of course it could lead from fostering to adoption, which is the permanent arrangement of care.
Okay, okay. So I'm getting my head into it. When you're heading into fostering, you know that this generally is going to be a temporary arrangement.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
So the
I'm wondering, when all the emotional attachment happens, how do you manage that?
Well, I think you have to. And when we share a bit more of our story, you'll probably get an understanding as to why we are where we are now.
Mhm.
But we ultimately look at it as God. It's God's children, right? They're all God's children, and we are temporary stewards, right? Because even children that you would have that are considered biological, right? They at some point will move out of the home, have their own lives, and so we aren't joined to them in that way. So at some point, our children will move on to have their own lives. So it to me, it's still temporary if you look at it that way as well.
All right, cool. So, question then: were you always minded to foster, or did it just come to you in a dream one day and say, "Go forth and foster"? I don't know. How did it happen?
It came through prayer. Um, so the short version of our story is that we have been trying to conceive for almost 12 years now, and one in 2021 at the start of the year we were praying and asking the Lord what is his will for us for the year. That's what we do at the start of every year. And at 2020 in 2021 we were not asking about children, we were just asking generally, Lord, what is it that you want us to do? And what we heard on multiple occasions was you can adopt. And so we started going down that line, and everything was pointing us to foster care. So we went back in prayer and we asked the Lord again, everything is pointing us to foster care. Is this what you want us to do? Is this you guiding us in this direction? And he said, yes, go forth, right? So that is what really led us to go into foster care, because we're persons who believe in walking in obedience, right? So if the Lord says do it, we're saying yes, sir, and we're moving right along. So we did that. And we applied in March. We were approved by May, and we had our first foster son by June.
And all of this was in 2021.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Very
so you
rapid.
said January, you applied March, and by June,
Yeah.
We had our first foster son.
oh, so this
Yeah.
doesn't have to take years and years to get into.
No.
No,
And
it doesn't.
would like to believe that once you're in the Lord's will, it's not likely to take. I mean, of course, different things for different persons, of course, but I think for us, we saw God's favor in the process as we
Yeah.
applied His favor in terms of approval. And once we were approved, I think we were just ready to welcome our first child, and it wasn't long after till we got that call. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. As you speak of readiness, that's one of the things I want to ask about as well. From moving from a place where one, let's say I'm thinking about foster care, I've never had a child, I don't really know what's going to happen. How did you prepare yourself? And I know you're going to say prayer, which is a very Christian response, and I'm looking forward to hearing you prepared through prayer. So,
We're gonna give you more than that. We're gonna give you more than that. So the preparation for us, as Renee mentioned, trying for 12 years, I think the Lord had prepared us for a while, right? And even as you are a foster parent, you're not ready for everything that comes with it until you've gone through it. So for us, years before we actually went out to foster, the Lord had told us to prepare a room in our house as a nursery. So we had gone out, redone this room according to how the Lord had led us. Put in like wardrobes and ceiling fans and crib and all of that stuff. And so that preparation for us took a while. I think
2 years.
almost 2 years we were preparing our space, our home, our mindsets, or budgeting towards having a child with us, because we've been married for 14 years now. We've been trying for 12. So it's not an overnight thing, right? And for us, because we were hoping for conception, we went through the pain and the ups and downs of not being able to conceive naturally, right? We learned all about
Infertility.
infertility and how many couples really struggled with that. We worked through all the different things that you tell yourself as to why you can't conceive. Is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with her? Is there something wrong with us? We went through all of that, and I think 2021 January, our hearts were in a place where we were willing to say yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the Lord led us to it at that point, because at any other point on the journey, we might have been fixed on let's do it one way, right? So I think at that point, we were like, we've gone through so many other things. We're like, Lord, whatever it is your will is for us, that's what we want to do. And I think that's why we were open to it. And there is a process that you have to go through once you're now available to foster. We went through our first child that was with us. He was only with us for 3 months. And so we had to deal with the reality that it is temporary, because we poured out our all into our first child for 3 months.
And he, when he came to us, he was 3 months old, so he was a baby with needs. Yeah, very, very specific needs at that age. And
so you stayed up late and you're changing the diapers and you're trying to figure out the different sounds and what they mean. We went through all of that, and
so the attachment was great. It was great, even though the time sounds short. It was very
93 days, I think. I think I called it to be like it was just we waited so long, and then that moment came, and so for us, we were fully bought in, and then that happened, and we're like, whoa, okay, this is what everybody says they're afraid of. But at the same time, it was at that point that I realized that we are in fact stewards, and that we have to be willing to say, well, if he was with us for 3 months and we had an impact on his life, then we have to be willing and open to what the Lord chooses to do, because we were meant to be stewards for those 3 months.
Right. So you said there was a process, and I'm imagining there had to be checks from the relevant authorities to make sure that you were in good stead to be a foster parent. But before we get to that, I know that I'm way into it, but let's take the break. Everybody come back with us. This is Family Time, and we're talking about fostering today. Don't go anywhere.
Christmas I come go down a Bashko. Christmas I come go down a Bashko. Christmas Christmas a come go down a Bashko. Christmas a come go down a Bashko. Christmas a come go down a Bashko. We go down to Bashko, down to a light up Christmas tree. Give smart of family, pop some and sitting up on Christmas Day. So we get decorations go down a Bashko, matching sheet and curtains go down a Bashko. Something for everyone go down a Bashko. Christmas a come go down a Bashko. Yummy bulla full of flavor, pineapple, coconut and ginger. Hey, everybody love the yummy old time bulla. Ask them, tell them, all round good vibes, full enough style. The bulla well nice, new coconut flavor done right, just like old time. Yummy bulla with pear or bulla with cheese. No how but a pop mine. Yummy bulla full of flavor, pineapple, coconut and ginger. Everybody love the new coconut bulla. Ask them, all round good vibes. Yummy bulla, all round good vibes.
The world is changing and so should you. Diversify your career and get local and international certification in 2 to 6 months at Distinction College. Start online and face-to-face class in medical assistant, medical lab tech, pediatrics and psychiatric nursing, ECG tech, home attendant, hairdressing, makeup, meal tech, call center, supervisory and events planning management, cashiering, media broadcasting and travel tourism. Register this week and get free subjects and free courses. No subjects required, no age limits. Visit us in Kingston, Spanish Town, Outaris and St. Elizabeth. Call us at 876-356-4167.
Welcome back to Family Time here on Love 101 FM. Thanks to all those who are joining us via Facebook and YouTube Live. Remember to send us your comments. Please let us know what your experience has been like as a foster child or as a foster parent, or in the case of our guests, a foster couple. Please send your responses to 876-997-3125. That's our WhatsApp line. You may use text or voice notes no longer than 30 seconds. And of course, on YouTube and Facebook, you go ahead and post and we'll share what you share. So, Renee and Jermaine. All right.
Sir.
So we're looking now, and you mentioned of how some of the emotions would have gone after the long waiting period, only 3 months, and then you had to let go and release the child. I'm guessing back to the biological parents.
Yes.
So we see how that would have gone. But before you'd have got to the place where you could foster, there would have been checks on you. What sort of checks did they have to do to make sure that you were legit people who they could give responsibility for a child to?
So when you do the application form to become a foster parent or to become approved as a foster parent, there are, of course, a number of questions that are asked. A background check is done. Referrals are required, or references are required, written references, right? So those are letters from reputable persons, and a police report is also required. So those are the documents, the formal documents that are needed. But then in addition to that, the CPFSA, if you're going through them, or for the child, that is through Family Life Ministries, if you're going through them, they do a house visit. So they come in and check that your environment is suitable to house a child. And
so I'll just say for all the women, suitable does not mean tidy
clean.
all the time. It's supposed to be a normal home. They just want to know that there's no risk for the child in terms of safety or health.
Right, exactly. And also there are some trainings that are provided. So it helps you to understand more about what fostering is, what is expected of you, what to expect when a child comes into your home, etc. So that is really what happens in the process. And then you go to the queue to become approved. And once you are approved, then the matching process begins.
So tell me about, you mentioned for the child foster care program, and that would be through Family Life Ministries.
Correct.
Is it that is very different or separate from what the CPFSA does, or would the process be similar and it has to really end up through the CPFSA anyways?
Right. Well, it's the latter.
Process is similar. However, you have the benefit of additional support through for the child. Additional trainings. There's a community of persons that you're able to benefit from as well. So though our experience was with CPFSA. We started working with Family Life Ministries because of just the community that is involved with For the Child.
And also with For the Child, there is support through Nairn Family Homes in Canada, who is a partner for the Child here in Jamaica. And it the trainings do come through them. And also there is the additional ambassadorship that we do for the Child. The
Tell
four
me
four
about that.
is a little thing.
What does the ambassadorship entail?
Well, that is us representing For the Child, really. So we go into churches and we share our stories, and we encourage more believers to start fostering children, to be active in the community of fostering, because what better way to pour back into the kingdom than to love a child and to raise a child up in the way that he should go? Because a lot of times we are so scared of the emotions and the separation. What happens if the child goes back? How am I going to manage? And when persons say that, I say to them, listen, we have the tools, we are equipped to get the help that we need. The children are not. They don't have the support. They don't have the home, the family, the church. They don't have what they need to be able to cope with the situations that they're in. If it is that we have to separate from the child, then at least we would have known that we would have done the Lord's will in caring for that child during the time that they were with us. And so we try, our job is really to frame fostering in a way that is more understandable and accessible to persons, so it doesn't seem so far-fetched and unusual in our space anymore.
And I think from what you're saying, it's important for us to get that fostering is not a selfish undertaking. So it's not
No.
just because I've always wanted a child, so I need to go and foster. But you have to be mindful of the fact that you're doing this for the child. You're offering something
Exactly,
that
exactly.
he or she wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because
All
there
right.
are some children who will be, because no one is there for them, are in homes for pretty much all of
Childhood.
their childhood. There are some children who they would say like age out of the system, meaning they're there from maybe
Until
1 2
18.
until they're 18, 19, 20, and that's because nobody ever came for them. So
And then what happens to that child? They have no home to go to, they have nobody to turn to, and they end up on the streets. So they end up on the streets, and then they still need to live. So how are they going to live? They usually end up 80%. 80% is the statistic when of children who age out, who become criminals. So how, when you know that, when you hear that, how can we not step in and do something for our society, for our nation's children? So that really was our conviction. And for us, the Lord spoke to us specifically about boys, about baby
Oh.
boys. So our first foster was a boy, a 3-month-old baby boy. Our second foster is a boy, and he's still here with us today.
You're helping me so well to get into the areas that I want to look at. So you mentioned that the first one, the Lord have been speaking to you concerning boys. So the
Yes.
question is, if I sign up to foster, can I tell them the child, the age, the sex, all of that? I can tell them which type child I want, and
so they
Yes.
actually will try to match the child with a family in terms of personality, even to how the child looks, right? So everyone says to us that our son looks like
Looks
me,
like him.
right? So there are persons who don't know that we're foster parents and be like, Jermaine, he looks exactly like you. I said, well, he's my son. He's supposed to look like me.
that's
And
right.
so it's just something that I like, that they put in that additional effort. And
Yeah.
for us, we did have the opportunity to meet with him first. He spent some time with us. He fell asleep in my hand the very first time that we met him, and that was it for me. I was like, I'm good. Let's
Yeah.
just do
He was
this.
ready to take him home that
Can we
first
take
day.
him home now? But
Yeah.
it
But
was-
to answer Directly, yes. On the form, you do get to specify the gender and the age that you're of the child or children you're able to foster.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started out with the first son, which was 3 months, and the second son is
Well,
or
he's
was
not
We
when you
got
started
three.
out?
He's been with us
for
for
2 years.
2+ years now. Yeah.
Okay, and he was how old when you started out?
It was
He was
one.
one,
It
and
was
he
one.
just
Okay.
celebrated his third birthday a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So we know the process doesn't have to be lengthy. Two,
Right.
we know that we have to be open to being very unselfish, and knowing that, at the end of the day, this can end quickly or it can go for a while.
It
We
can
just
be
have
a
to be
day
prepared.
or it can be 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to be, work within the parameters which are set.
Yeah.
Why? Who makes an ideal foster parent? Because somebody may be saying, well, y'all are fine. You don't have any children, so it should be fine. But open up your home. I already have 3, 4. I can't do fostering. So who makes an ideal foster parent?
That's an interesting question because I think if you are willing, if you've thought about it, or if you feel like you're being led by the Lord to do it, because it's not for somebody who I've heard person say, well, maybe when I'm older, or maybe whenever I have money, or like there's some kind of weird criteria. But to me, those three things are probably most important. I would say if you have the heart for it, then you'll know, right?
Yeah.
Because even before we did this, persons saw our love and our desire for children and young people in general, right? We were youth leaders in our church. We taught Sunday school. We would, sometimes drop, children home to their parents if they didn't have a drive. So it was just something that we had the heart for long before the Lord told us or led us to it. So I've seen persons who are like that, and then that same little thing that we mentioned earlier, where they're just so concerned about the pain or the potential pain, because the truth is you don't know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I would just say if you feel like you're being led, then definitely go and see what the Lord has planned for you.
Yeah.
All right. So this question will probably take us up to the break. I think we have 2 minutes before the break. So here we go. We know that the child can be taken from you, but as a foster parent, can you say, this is a bit too much for me and send the child back?
So you can because the truth is sometimes there are situations that are too much for persons to deal with, and they can just call in their caseworker and say and have that conversation, and the caseworker may opt, based on their assessment, may opt to say, okay,
Yeah.
let us take the child out of your home because this is not a right fit for you.
Yeah. And they certainly wouldn't want you to take care of a child that you're not willing to take care of. So if you
Right.
feel like it's not working out for some reason, or maybe you're not the right fit or something like that.
Because the truth about it is that these children have tend to have a lot of traumas, right? And with the trauma there come challenges, and not everybody is equipped or prepared to deal with those challenges. So though there's support from the CPFSA, it doesn't always result in the child staying in the home.
Okay. Okay. And wow, you did a very good job. You're within the 2 minutes for the break. So we're going to take the break rather than having any cuts and stuff when we start with the other questions. So come back with us. Please remember, we're waiting on those comments and your experiences that you're sharing with us. So let us know how that went. 876-997-3125. Send your text and voice notes via WhatsApp, and go ahead and post and comment on Facebook and YouTube. See you after the break.
Proverbs 22, verse 6 advises us to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That age-old proverb has proven to be a truism for almost all of us. All children need training. It's the way we pass on our family values, our island culture, and our faith in God. Any country which pays positive attention to its children ensures the continuity of a good nation and a good future. We know that in Jamaica, many children don't have access to the training that they need to develop their full potential because of economic circumstances or because their parents passed away in an untimely manner. Notice that the instruction from Proverbs 22 did not say, birth parents only train up a child in the way it should go. All adults should get involved in the training and mentorship of our precious children. Foster care provides opportunities for this kind of engagement, especially if for one reason or another you don't have children of your own. Embrace a child who needs to be trained and give them your loving, nurturing care. Well-known singer Whitney Houston made popular a song that said, I believe our children are our future. Teach them well. Foster care could give you the opportunity to fulfill both the Word of God and that beautiful song. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Your health is your wealth, so come we start the conversation. Make we rise and immunize all across the nation. The ministry is giving us the motivation to get your infants routine immunization. Protect the toddlers from all diseases. Tetanus, rubella, whooping cough and the measles. Polymyelitis, mumps and the flu, plus tuberculosis to name a few.
Rise to immunize. Eliminating diseases saves lives. Visit your nearest clinic or health center for more information or log on to www.moh.gov.jl.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness with support from USAID and PAHO.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Make the Christmas get you in a good mood and come out for the Christmas tree lighting ceremony and concert inside St. William Grant Park, downtown Kingston, under the distinguished patronage of His Worship the Mayor of Kingston, Senator Delroy Williams, CD. Let's spread the love, cheer, and joy of Christmas. It happens Thursday, December 14 at 6:30 p.m. and will feature performances by Oral Lawson, the 2023 Gospel Star winner, Dawn Martin, St. Andrew High School for Girls Choir, Ministers Kukudu and Joan Flemings, and lots more. It's the Christmas tree lighting ceremony and concert. Come on location for the fun and fellowship. It will be live on Love 101 FM, Thursday, December 14 at 6:30 p.m. Don't you miss it.
Welcome back to Family Time here on Love 101 FM, as well as YouTube and Facebook Live. Thank you very much for joining us and for joining with our guests, Renee and Jermaine McDonald, the ambassadors for the Child Foster Care. And they're telling us a lot of very important things that we need to note as we head into foster care. And I'm hoping that for those of you who are wondering about what foster care entails, or you're saying, I've heard a lot of stories and I can't deal with foster care, I hope you stay tuned and call a friend, and that you'll allow the Lord to talk to you and say, go forth, and you will definitely be empowered to go and foster with all other training that you will receive. And you can tell that the foster parents really are foster parents, because they're hearing some noise around there. So yes, that would be their son in the background if you're here.
Yes, he has joined us.
Yes.
Imagine doing content like this as well. It's fun.
All right. So here we are. I can imagine that perhaps at some point you would have had um, perhaps heard some horror stories about foster care. If you didn't, that's awesome. But would there have been anything that would have kind of said, "Wow, Lord, I'm not sure if I'm really taking this on," because I've heard many stories about how foster care goes. I'm not really in for that. So, did you have any of those?
So I'd say, well, Renee said yes. I was gonna say for me, I think based on how long we were waiting, I would have gone through the, you know, I I wanted to be a father so badly. I wasn't necessarily concerned how. Right, and that was actually my prayer. As like, if somebody wanted to, I used to say this to people as like, when I'd hear them, complain about, parenting or hard it is, I'm like, I'll take that child from you. Like, I'll be that father, because it was just such a great desire for me that I don't think there was anything that would deter me. But it sounds like Renee might have had something. So
Meaning, yes, I heard some stories. Persons would have told us about how long the process would take and how painstaking it was, and persons on list for years and nothing came through.
yeah.
It was more on that side, and then off from the foster children side, you'd hear about some children who were in foster care who didn't have great experiences, and we certainly did not want that to be any child who is with us, and because we understand that as much as you love a child and you can love a child, there can still be gaps. And so for a while that was a little bit of a concern, but I handed that to the Lord and said, you know what, Lord, anything that we can't do, we're trusting you to fill. So we are supposed to be his hands and feet, so he will guide us to do the things that he needs us to do, and we just have to trust that he will do the rest.
Indeed. Was there any trepidation, any worry, like, am I really going to be able to do this thing? I don't want to mess up a child. You alluded to that somewhat. So you'd have prayed about it and said, you know what, we're good, we're going to handle this. Did it get settled right after that? You prayed and said, Lord, you'll handle this? Or did you have to keep working through it at some point?
For me, it's something that I continue to work through daily, because as it's parenting itself is just a constant adjustment. As the child grows, as you grow, as things change with you and things change with the child, there are different seasons, and there's always something that you're wondering, am I doing the right thing? Am I taking the right approach with this? Should I do it differently? And so for me, I found help in a community of mummies from our church. There are about 8 of us in our group, and that is our safe space to say, hey, this is happening. How have you dealt with it? Because we have mummies at different stages.
Yeah.
And we just support each other through it. Some of the things that I worry about, the other mummies are like, oh, that's normal, don't worry about it, we go through it too. So that has been very helpful for me.
And in our case,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, in our case, we have a very energetic little boy, and so the things that we found most interesting is, for example, the time he wakes up. He'll wake up maybe 4:30, about 4:30 a.m. regardless of the time he goes to bed, and he wakes up with this energy that you're hearing in the background right now. He's like this.
Awesome.
And so that has been an adjustment for us. Just he always wants to be outdoors, always wants to play, always wants to just do something. And he's very, very animated. So he'll talk in his sleep, he'll sing very loudly. Just all the things that I guess we were looking forward to experience, we're getting all in this experience.
So were you morning person before or after he decided that he'd wake up at 4:30 every morning?
She's the morning person, I'm not.
Oh yeah. So he wakes up. He wakes up calling for me anyway. So he comes and knocks on the door and he shouts, "Mommy!" Yes, just like that. He calls for me, and so I tend to be the one who gets up. Occasionally, Jermaine will be like, "It's okay, I'll go this time."
One out of every 30 times, I can maybe muster up the strength and and join her. But we do have different strengths. So for example, late evening, that would be usually my time to shine because that's like daylight for me. And it's just challenging because usually we have to like alternate times because we also work from home. So he's actually home with us at this point because he's not well, so he didn't go to school today. So work was quite interesting. I don't think we got any work at all done today. And I mean, but these again, I say to persons, you get what you prayed for. So you pray for a child, you're gonna have everything that comes with having a child. So
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah.
what about? I know that we'd have concerns about how long the child may stay, how we work through that. But I know that in certain circumstances, persons may be concerned about the birth parents because eventually, as you said, foster care really is about holding down the fort until the child can be reunited with the birth parents.
Yeah.
Have you heard of or had any experience where the birth parents are really just upping themselves and they're just not the easiest person to deal with, or do you not have to deal with the birth parents and it's not really an issue?
So with the foster care arrangement, the agency actually tries to maintain contact or tries to have the child maintain contact with their birth parents or their birth family. So for our jelly bean here, he has visitation with his birth mother once per month, typically once per month. And that is in an attempt to maintain some sort of relationship so that in the event that she becomes able to care for him and she decides that she wants to take him back into her care, she's proven to be fit and proper to do so, then she would not be a stranger to him. In terms of the challenges, of course there are challenges with it, and I think one of the greatest challenges that we have had to deal with personally is just how draining it is for him emotionally to be separated from us, to go to do the visit and come back. So it might sound weird because people might be listening and say, oh, but you're not his parent, right? But we are. As far as he knows, we're mommy and daddy. He knows us and only us as mommy and daddy. So when it is that the caseworker comes to pick him up, to take him to his birth mother, even though we would have prepared him and told him where he's going, he's 2, he's 3 now, but he'll be 2 at the time that it was happening. And what would he really understand? What he knew and what he saw was that he was being taken away from mommy and daddy, going to a strange person, going in a strange car, going to somewhere he doesn't know. So he would cry, he would scream to be separated from us in the first place, cry all the way there, cry throughout the visit, cry all the way back until he fell asleep.
He would just be drained. And for that night or those couple of days, he would not want to be without us until he felt like, okay, I'm back home,
safe again.
I'm secure, so everything is gonna be okay. And then 30 days later, you go through that
same
again.
cycle. So it's very challenging for him and for us, because whereas bedtime would usually take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it would become a 2-hour long stretch because he doesn't want you to leave. And that is a part of what I was alluding to before when I mentioned the traumas of the children who are in the homes. He has great separation anxiety. He would have had
he spent his first year in
his first year since birth, from 2 days old to 13 months old, he was in state care in a home, a group home. And then he came to us.
So one of the reasons why he's so loud is that they said that the children, pretty much the ones who were the loudest, got the most attention, right? So he has always been at this volume because I think for him it means that he'll always have the attention that he's hoping for.
Yeah.
So you said he's at home because he's not well. What does not well mean? Because he sounds quite fine. He sounds quite fine.
So what he does, what we've noticed, he is a go all out kind of kid, and then he'll just crash. So you'll hear him and then a few minutes you'll just hear him snoring because he's just out because he gave it his all.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's how he is.
Yeah, but he does have a cold, a runny nose, and everything.
Yeah.
But he's fine. He's a trooper.
Yeah. He's running it out for sure. He's running it out.
Exactly.
All right. So you mentioned that there would have been, or that you have, a support system, a support system that we're gonna talk about right after this break. So everybody, stay with us. This is family time. I'm Sir Twain. Come back with us.
Something smells good.
When you're cooking or baking, begin with the best. The trusted tradition of Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings. Mix it, stir it, blend it all around and create something spectacular. Whether you're making cakes, custards, puddings, punches, or savory meals, Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings add that special touch to everything. And here's something else special. Benjamin's ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, anise, and mixed spice are now available in liquids.
Yes, everything tastes better with Benjamin's.
Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century.
Hate long wait times at the pharmacy? Me too! Well, I found Marshall's Pharmacy, located at Pathfinder Plaza, Greater Portmore. Great customer service, shorter wait times, all the local and international brands I want, plus print services powered by Print Corner. WhatsApp your prescriptions to 876-491-7841 and follow them on Instagram at Marshall's Pharmacy. Visit Marshall's Pharmacy in Greater Portmore today. They're open late every day, even on public holidays.
Have a graceful wish this season and make a difference by voting now until December 17. Visit Graceful's IG page and vote. One like equal one vote.
All right. Welcome back to Family Time. And we're talking about fostering. And our guests are Renee and Jermaine McDonald. All right, they're still with us. Awesome. So here we go. You mentioned having a support system, Renee. I'm not sure if that's a support system for both yourself and Jermaine, or that's just your support system.
That's mine.
It's yours. Okay.
So we have so there's the mommies group that Renee formed. There's a For the Child family that we have we're able to reach out to. And we do have the support of our pastors who are also one of our pastors are foster parents. Okay. So as we go through this journey, we talk to them, they counsel us, they pray with us. They were with us when we had to give back our first child, and they've been really encouraging us, right? So their story, they were foster parents for many years. And in their case, the child that they had fostered had to be reunited, I believe.
No, he never left them. He never left them. So he went and was able to meet his birth family, but he came back and said, "Oh, you guys are my family," Yeah. So that was after he was 18. So at that point, he was able to choose how he wanted to press along. So
their story has been a great encouragement and support for us. So we know that everything that we go through, they have been through it, and so we can rely on them if we need anything. And our family is extremely supportive. And we've just, I think because we went through a season of sharing our story before we were parents, we have a community of persons who are praying for us and encouraging us and want to see us do well. So,
and we do have, Jermaine mentioned sharing our story. We do have a YouTube channel called Loving to the Max. That's Loving to the MACKS.
Don't read it off so fast. Go slowly so I can remember too.
Loving to the MACKS. Right.
That's Max because of McDonald's.
Right. So that's our channel, and we would have shared our full story about waiting. We shared about becoming foster parents and what it took. So everything that we would have shared earlier about preparing to foster, we did a whole video about that. And we realized that there were lots of persons who were in similar positions but didn't have anybody talking about it. So they really appreciated having that come from us. And so that community is also there and very much supportive of us as well.
All right, cool. I like that. And so we can see that we know that many times we say, well, we don't want nobody in our business. But the community support, you're saying that is very important. Don't try to do it on your own.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
not at all.
All right, so definitely let's make a note of that. So now it's Christmas, and I know that, well, Christmas time. Some people it's Christmas already. So we're looking at. I've heard the ad or the promo on radio about take a child home for Christmas.
Yes.
Um, is that a way or an effective way that someone can say, well, let me see if I could manage the fostering by trying out this Christmas sort of vibe?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And how did you ever try that, or you never had to have that?
So we've never tried it, but I would say that it's a great opportunity to start to wrap your mind around what it would take. It's that we're a little bit, I guess, cautious about, because we do think about things from the child's perspective, where if they should come and stay with you for 2 weeks and then maybe they have to go back, that may be a little challenging for them. So we would say, if it is that you can see it is a start, but we would say really do see if you can try to make a more permanent move. I think the trying out should be at least a couple of months. I don't think the Christmas period is enough to really see what that relationship would be like, because it's Christmas. Maybe work is a little bit slowed down for you. They don't have school. You don't really understand the dynamic that it would be under normal circumstances. So I would say, go through the process to be approved. Go through and let them know the type of child that you're hoping to have in your home, and give it a longer period. It's great to start at Christmas, and you certainly do want to see how best you can support a child during this season.
Yeah.
There are many ways to support. You can have a child with you, you can donate, you can sponsor another parent. There are different ways to support what we're doing. But I'm just not sure if 2 weeks would be enough time for you to really get to know the child. So I would say you can certainly start now and give yourself till maybe March or April, and then you see where you are at that point.
You mentioned a few things I want to get back to, because I find that they're quite important, but you just reel across them because it's probably usual for you. So you noted that. So anyone who wants to be a part of the Christmas program would have already had to be a part of the approved list of persons. Is that it?
No, you wouldn't have to already have been, but there is an application process as well for
All right,
that
cool.
one.
And you noted that there are many ways to support, and you mentioned that one you can. Did you say sponsor a family or support a family?
Right.
Yes. So
Tell me
so
more
let's
about
say
that
that
one.
you have the resources, financially, and you may be somebody who works a demanding job. You have a heart for children, so you feel like you may not have the opportunity to be there every day. You may have the resources to be able to sponsor a family, to say, well, let me donate for the child. Is there any need there? Let me donate to CPFSA, which we have done actually as well, um, because there are limited resources,
Resources,
right?
yeah.
Because they give you a stipend, but that's just it. A stipend, it's not anywhere near what you would need. And so there's always a need for financial support. There are also persons who can make themselves available for, let's say, emergency placement or temporary placement, just for a couple of days until an emergent situation is a little bit better. So there are many ways to support without really making yourself available full time, right? And also you could serve, let's say that you work at a company that does, like charitable events, or can donate diapers. Like, there's so many things that we need in terms of resources for this ecosystem. A few of the homes may need resources like, diapers or napkins, or mattresses. Like, there's so many things that they need, that you can always support the work that is being done without being a parent yourself.
And the only thing I'll add to that just quickly is that around Christmas time, a lot of entities tend to donate to the homes. But I encourage persons who are listening now to seek to expand beyond just
Yes.
Christmas, right? Because the need
The
is
need
year
is throughout
round.
the year. Yes.
The
So
need
not
is
just
year
it's
round.
great when you can do something for the holidays. It's a season for it, etc. But what about March, April, May, June, July, August, September, right? So we encourage persons to give and be in the mindset to give consistently.
Okay, that's awesome. So this one just came to me. So I know that the we'll be jumping and say, I'm gonna love this child to the max. How difficult
I like
is
that.
it?
I like
To the max.
So how difficult has it been, or what has it been like for you when it comes to disciplining? I think some people are probably like, I really don't want to go too hard because this probably had a. So how have you been able to manage disciplining without having the guilt of saying, well, and I might pick this, so I can't do this, or so how you manage that?
Well, we certainly don't recommend that mindset. They
Mhm.
are
They
your
are your
child,
child.
and actually, they recommend that you look at it that way. So all the things that you would do, especially in the era of discipline, because I believe that children should have boundaries, right? We believe that we have come a long way in terms of how we view discipline, but we have agreed to be on the same page. And so what we try to do is ensure that there are things that we have as like non-negotiables, right? So if there's certain things that he would do that we say, okay, this is an opportunity to kind of shape him in the way that he should grow, because we're thinking about when he gets to the teenage years, how will he have a view on certain things, right? Because we see it, we've always seen that child that just behaves crazy in the supermarket or at church or somewhere else, and we always look and say, well, it's these years that the parents have an opportunity to shape that child's behavior. If you miss these years, it's going to be extremely hard to try and build a new behavior at 13 when they were with you from 2 or 3.
Right.
So that's how we view discipline. It's something that we try to be very consistent with. Thankfully, for our son, we find that we know what levers to kind of push and pull if he's not being the way that he should be. So we found that we needed to scold him less, and he just kind of wants to have fun, right? So we have to kind of guide the fun. And when he starts to cross a certain boundary, then we just have a conversation with him because he very well understands what we're saying. And so we try to. He's an excellent negotiator, so we will negotiate how he should behave in that circumstance.
You're right. Wow, this has been very eye-opening and, of course, a fun conversation. And I guess all that's left for me to ask you before I wrap is this: a word of encouragement to somebody who's thinking of fostering, or probably some advice to somebody who is already in the fostering but is having a little difficulty. I think we have a minute, so you can go ahead and have that.
It's a minute, and I'll have Renee go.
Right. So I mean, my encouragement is to go in with your whole heart, but also go in with support in mind. Um, good strong support is going to be vital on the journey. So as it is that you're preparing to foster, also prepare to have families, persons, pastors, whoever it is that you need around you to help you navigate the new emotions and the newness of everything that's going to come with being foster parents.
Awesome. Thank you very much to our guests, Jermaine and Renee. It was a pleasure having you both.
Thank you so much.
All right. As I leave this verse with us today, it comes from Hebrews 11 and verse 1. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. This has been Family Time, and I've been your host, Sir Twain. See you next week.